Communication is a continually changing and evolving process in which people develop and create their own style. Have you ever thought about your own style? I would like to discuss with you several different terms and concepts that I've learned in the past few weeks in my communications class, which piqued my interest and related to me personally. Concepts such as totalizing, dual perspective, artifacts, nonverbal communication, and proxemics will be highlighted based on their textual definition and how they relate to my own communication style. Totalizing is a form of symbolic communication in which we use labels to categorize people. Totalizing is specifically responding to people as if one aspect of them were the sum total of who they are. I think we can all remember back in high school when we used to categorize our classmates as jocks, preps, and nerds. We all did this. In doing this, though, we dismiss who a person actually is and instead base all our interactions on one single label. Having reviewed totalizing as a form of symbolic communication, I would like to discuss one aspect of verbal communication. Dual perspective is easily the most important form of verbal communication. Dual perspective is the ability to understand another person's perspective, beliefs, thoughts, or feelings. This is, effectively, putting yourself in someone else's shoes. When we take someone's perspective into account, we open up ourselves to understanding their own values, and I personally try to do this as much as possible. Putting yourself in someone else's shoes is a very important form of verbal communication, but nonverbal communication and how we present ourselves to others can be equally important. The quickest way to decide how to interact with someone is usually based on their appearance and the first impression that gives us. Artifacts are personal objects with which we announce our identities and personalize our environment. These help us to express personal identity and display to the world our own unique style. One of the ways I do this probably is how I decorate my room. I consider myself clean and very organized, and my room, which is my own personal space, my artifact, reflects this. How we present ourselves to others is just one form of nonverbal communication. To learn more, it would be useful to identify and to hone in on what nonverbal communication really is. Nonverbal communication, overall, is more honest than verbal communication, but both are highly symbolic. Nonverbal communication includes all aspects of communication other than words, including how we utter those words, features of the environment, and objects of personal identification. My personal biggest problem with nonverbal communication is crossing my arms. I frequently do this, and it definitely limits the conversation or communication that I'm having with someone. The way we represent ourselves to others through indirect communication, like crossing my arms, leads directly into spatial relationships in a conversation. Another form of nonverbal communication is based on personal space and the amount of respect that we give it. Proxemics is this space and how we use it. To use a personal example again, my fiance's family is Vietnamese, and they all have no sense of personal space. I don't always like people being up in my business or touching me all the time, and no matter how much I love them, because of our cultural differences, I sometimes feel uncomfortable in our conversations. Being aware of the space between individuals is only one of the important aspects of communication I find interesting. Overall, there are many important aspects to communication, and these 5, totalizing, dual perspective, artifacts, nonverbal communication, and proxemics, are only a few that I specifically find interesting. My style of communication comprises these 5 aspects specifically. What aspects make up your style? Thank you.